A congressional hearing investigates President Walker's fitness for office, with an unidentified man testifying that the president is taking psychotropic drugs and may be unfit to handle nuclear weapons. Former Chief of Staff Linda Vasquez acknowledges the information regarding President Walker taking the psychotropic drugs is unproven, but admits she left her position due to serious disagreements with Vice President Frank Underwood, stating she could no longer help the president. When questioned, Vasquez recommends investigators speak with Underwood regarding the matter. Underwood dismisses the hearing as a farce and denies that Republicans are taking advantage of the situation. A journalist interviews Underwood regarding his disagreements with President Walker, the rumors of him running against Walker in 2016, and the connections between campaign finance issues and the impeachment proceedings. A key advisor warns President Walker that the situation is creating rumors about Underwood positioning himself to take over and advises him to distance himself from Underwood. Walker, concerned about the impeachment vote count, decides to use Raymond Tusk to publicly blame Underwood and is told that Tusk will talk to the jury on the legal committee. Elsewhere, Claire Underwood contacts Megan Hennessy, who is mentally unwell and in a hospital, expressing regret for having hurt her, but implies a need for continued cooperation, only to be met with scorn and accusations. Linda expresses her relief to an unknown caller that Megan has left, hinting at Claire's difficult situation and regretting her suggestion of psychological help. However, after the call, Linda is overcome with emotion, crying and packing a suitcase, suggesting a departure of her own. Meanwhile, Raymond Tusk reveals to Frank that President Walker was able to get to him first, offering a deal for his testimony, most likely a pardon. Raymond downplays Frank's influence, reminding him that only a president can grant a pardon. Doug confronts Gavin about the stalled Brown case, promising to aim for parole but forbidding him from contacting Rachel Posner, which Gavin reluctantly accepts. Remy informs Gavin that cooperation is his only chance to avoid implicating Remy himself. Back at the White House, Frank and Claire discuss the situation with Raymond and President Walker. Frank tells Claire what Raymond demands in return for his help, while hinting that he has been offered much more. He refuses to commit to any plans until the outcome is known. Claire urges Frank to use his influence to seduce Raymond and betray him if necessary, emphasizing the high stakes. As Frank prepares to leave, Claire warns Frank that if she is not given the gift she deserves, that this will be his fault. At Camp David, President Walker reads a letter, ostensibly from Frank, confessing to the crimes Walker is accused of and signed Mr. Walker's loyal friend. Walker contacts Frank, revealing that Trish found the statement and expressing disbelief. He demands action, not sacrifice, from Frank. Frank, in response, pledges his commitment and orders Doug to secure the necessary votes. Stamper then murders a woman. Stamper reveals to Underwood that he has taken care of Lisa. Disclosing actions Underwood didn't explicitly order, Stamper asks Claire about a position in the White House, acknowledging his past actions. Claire questions if Frank was really imploring Stamper to stay in politics for the access to power. Stamper notes Claire has become colder, and she agrees this makes things easier. Jackie seeks a job recommendation from Remy after questioning him about his role in Underwood's testimony, but he denies responsibility and notes Underwood and Claire have become colder. President Walker at Camp David pulls Remy's pardon. Claire directs Linda to tell Tusk the deal is off. Tusk, in turn, expresses reluctance about a prior arrangement to an unnamed person, who encourages him not to risk it. Linda warns Remy that Underwood likely orchestrated the pardon revocation and that their conversation is being recorded. Frank pressures Congressman Corrigan to support the president. Frank pressures Jackie to cooperate with him. President Walker tells Underwood about the tense situation in the House. Former Congressman Michael Corrigan tells Underwood about Tusk's corruption, but insists on invoking the Fifth Amendment if called to testify because of Underwood's involvement. Underwood urges Corrigan to testify before a jury, promising protection. Tusk learns his deal has been cancelled. Cutler informs Lisa that her pardon has been revoked and offers legal protection if she provides information about Underwood. Raymond Tusk invokes his Fifth Amendment rights during an investigation, but implicates Underwood in a scheme involving money for political action committees. Tusk is arrested. The news reports Tusk's testimony, sparking protests outside the White House. Underwood orders Stamper to secure votes. Despite the risk of Gavin Orsay's potential testimony damaging the president, Stamper promises Gavin immunity to secure his cooperation. As protests swell and media pressure mounts, Underwood struggles to secure votes to avoid impeachment, suspecting betrayal. He is advised to contact Kern and assured that public opinion can be swayed. Remy advises Underwood to cooperate with Michael Corrigan, warning of the repercussions of Tusk's claims, but Underwood refuses. Underwood speaks to the camera, breaking the fourth wall. Remy, staring pensively at home, is approached by Stamper at a bar. Remy presses Stamper about Rachel Posner's whereabouts. Remy warns Stamper that Underwood is aware of Stamper's actions. Remy tries to convince Stamper to accept help, seeking protection and revealing his distrust. Remy finds Rachel in a safe house and takes her away in his car. He questions her about contact from others and demands honesty. When she denies being contacted, he accuses her of lying and stops the car. Rachel flees into the woods and Remy pursues her. At an impeachment hearing for President Walker, a congressman proposes an immediate vote. The committee agrees to forego debate and immediately votes to put President Walker's impeachment before the House of Representatives, passing the motion with mostly ayes and one nay from Tricia Walker. News reports announce Vice President Underwood's arrival at Camp David and the imminent resignation of President Walker within the hour. At Camp David, Underwood assures Lisa, President Walker's former mistress, that things will be fine before Sharp enters and Underwood speaks with her privately. Shortly after, President Walker addresses the public to announce his resignation. Underwood is then sworn in as the new President of the United States. Meanwhile, in a controversial move, Chinese dissident Zander Feng is arrested and returned to China, despite having been granted asylum. The Secretary of State, Linda Vasquez, informs President Underwood that the asylum denial is facing criticism. Finally, President Underwood enters the Oval Office and places his West Point ring on the president's desk.